Let's start with soccer. His name is Bobby Charlton. If you're an old-time soccer fan, you'll recognize this name. In the history of the great sport, England has won the World Cup one time only. They kind of invented the sport one time in 1966. That guy was the captain of the team, scored the most important goals in the history of English World Cup soccer. He just passed away at the age of 86. 249 career goals at Manchester United. Manchester United, the great global team.
Yeah.
49 more goals in international play. Great player, Bobby Charlton. Sir Bobby Charlton.
Oh, nice.
Knighted by the Queen. So he's passed away. We talked a little bit briefly about this sad story involving the Olympic gymnast Mary Lou Retton. She's from West Virginia. Very critical condition. Some type of very strange pneumonia case in ICU for 4 days, was near death. They rallied her back, finally moved her to a private room. She had a relapse over the weekend, back in ICU. Gymnastics around the world has put their arms around Mary Lou Retton. They've raised over $500,000 in money to help pay her medical bills. It's kind of stunning to me. She does not have medical insurance. Just an absolutely stunning story.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. But maybe she never worked, et cetera. So therefore, where was the medical insurance going to come from?
That makes sense.
But she's got 4 daughters, lives in Texas, but she's not in good shape because now she's back in ICU. And the third name was Phil Mickelson. We had a lot of extensive conversation, John, about PGA Tour and the bolt of lightning that came out of the sky.
Yeah.
About all of a sudden there's going to be a merger, PGA, LIV, Saudi Arabia. And this will solve all golf's problems, but the merger has stalled. Congress is involved. There's a lot of conflicting areas they're trying to solve. We thought there was going to be peace and that either to get it done by December and next year would be a joint schedule, or maybe it'd take a year to get it done, et cetera. Phil Mickelson this past week down at Miami at the Doral holds a press conference and says, we're ready to play in 2024. And by the way, PGA golfers are approaching us about coming across the street, leaving the PGA and joining our tour.
Really?
And part of this agreement was there'd be no more conversation about stealing players. They took 31 players that first year.
Yeah.
The Brooks Koepkas of the world, the Dustin Johnsons, paid them all that money. Nobody in the States has watched the LIV at all. No TV ratings.
Yeah.
And you look at the galleries, there's hardly any fans there. It's like it's recreational golf. So all of a sudden, Phil Mickelson starts talking about the PGA Tour. Says, yeah, their players are calling us. Their agents are contacting us. And by the way, Phil Mickelson says, here's a message to the Grand Slam events, the Masters, British Open, etc. You better protect yourself, and you better admit the LIV golfers, because you don't have the same tournament if our guys are not part of that tournament. So all of a sudden, Mickelson, who has a tendency to, doing it again. And he started this whole thing when he talked about the PGA 2 years ago, and he was the first one that jumped for all the guaranteed money. So he was supposed to not do this, and he's done it. And I don't know where the merger talks are right now. So your comments on Sir Bobby, Mary Lou, and Lefty.
Well, for Lefty, I'm still blown away. Because remember, we were talking a number of months ago how he's bet over $1 billion or close to $1 billion, which is unbelievable. But, is Congress going to solve the PGA LIV thing? Congress can't even solve their own problems. They can't even get a Speaker of the House. So depending on government to solve it, it's not going to work. But Mickelson needs to understand what's happening here and needs to kind of back off. Because LIV is, they're going to go in under the PGA brand, right?
Right.
So he's the LIV guy, so he's got to take a back seat. Tough on Mary Lou Retton, because I just think of her smile every time. She's just beaming all the time. But I think you're right. And maybe she just never had a job, never had group health insurance. But I'm surprised if she has family, why the family doesn't have insurance. You think they would maybe buy it on the open market, even though it's expensive. And then Bobby Charlton, you're educating me on some of the history of the game. I didn't know England only won one World Cup. Yeah. I mean, you would have thought it'd be a lot more.
Well, Germany and Italy have dominated, but dominated means 2 or 3 World Cups.
And then Brazil.
But they're not, it's spread out now. But no, England invented the game, and They've won it only one time, but boy, the fact that he got knighted, Sir Bobby Charlton,
Yeah, that's legit.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.